just generally, I think definitely preparing kind of like a level higher than the competition you're preparing for. So kind of like if you're doing AMC 10, 12 in like the near future, then I definitely recommend you do a lot of like AMY problem sets. Definitely that is something that you tend to do. So for example, if you're preparing for AMC 8, then do some AMC 10 questions. Or honestly, during an actual competition, I usually like the AMCs, for example, when you have to like kind of do a lot of problems like in like a very narrow range of time, I kind of tend to skip problems that I really don't know how to approach at first glance, right? I definitely kind of focus on like skimming the problem, first finding the problems that I think I know how to do and solving those, and then going back and seeing which of the skipped problems seems easier to me.
Yeah, I agree with Sophia. Like, if you're in a test and you see a hard problem, and even if you make some meaningful progress on it, if it's like AMC or AMY, I think if you spend too much time on that problem, it's almost like a sunk cost fallacy. Like, you believe that because you spent like 10 minutes or so on that problem that you should continue solving it. I think that's actually not a very good idea because in AMY or AMC, for example, all the problems are weighted the same. It's not good practice to just spend all your time on a hard problem just because you want to feel good solving it.
Yeah, for sure. Just wanted to add on to that. It really depends on kind of whether you're doing practice problems or if you're in the actual competition, kind of like we mentioned before. So for practice, for AMCs, I typically try for like 5 minutes. You really don't have that much leeway in an actual AMC exam or when you're practicing for an AMC exam, right? But when you're practicing for AMY, I definitely tend to try for around 20 minutes, especially since these problems tend to be like a lot harder in general, right? So by then, if I still haven't come up with anything, any result or any like a kind of idea about the problem, I can usually tell if I have an idea for the question or not. And if I've thought of a way to solve the problem and I'm just like continuing to calculate, then I usually tend to calculate until I reach like a dead end or an answer, right? But during the actual competition, like I mentioned before, I tend to skip problems that I can't do. But for AMY, definitely you have a lot of time. So definitely try problems that you can't do. Yeah. Yeah, my rituals are like definitely very different from what I assume like every other person does. But like Andrew said, I really don't do much math in like the 2 or 3 days before a test, right? And I don't touch any problem sets. Don't like say, try to cram any concepts or anything. Usually, competition math it isn't more about like information. It's about like how you kind of like problem solve to approach a problem, right? So there isn't really like a way that you can super like cram for these, right?